Moving on to Kashmir, a protester has lost his life in clashes with Indian troops during a demonstration over the killing of one person by security forces. The protester was killed during clashes in Naina village south of Kashmir's main city of Srinagar. Soldiers surrounded the village at night and killed an alleged militant in a gun battle. Hundreds of angry villagers then took out to the streets, throwing rocks at police. Soldiers fired back using tear gas and bullets. Kashmir has been divided between India and Pakistan since 1947. Both neighbors claim the region in full, but have partial control over it. Thousands of pro-independence protesters have been killed in the unrest in Kashmir over the past 2 decades.
Yeah, Tawai, actually, on just a mere suspicion, Indian Army launched a search operation in the Naina village in Pulwama district. It's important for the viewers to understand it's Pulwama district. It is a district which is like in a limelight these days, just because more and more youngsters are joining anti-Indian militia. So what happened was that on the suspicion, they launched a search operation, and it resulted in the death of a local militant, and that provoked or erupted kind of a protest, which was too huge and large. And to disperse protesters, government forces had to use live rounds around the fire, and which resulted into a death of a local. Of course, a probe has been called, which usually the government calls in any civilian death in Kashmir, but people are not hopeful as usual. They say that all the previous probes have gone astray, and they do not believe in India's probes and India's judiciary or India's justice system. So what happened today was like it is a kind of a tense situation in that particular district, because that particular district is known across Kashmir for having a mindset, developing mindset, which is against Indian rule, which is against the occupation, what they call Indian occupation in the region. So it is a kind of a situation where people for 15 consecutive days, it just ended last week, they were observing shutdown, just asking government that they want a memorial just for the anti-India fighters and those who usually get killed, like civilians. So this particular district is facing kind of a crisis, and it seems like spreading like a wildfire across the region, because there is this ideology developing that people of Kashmir are fed up and frustrated because of the false promises by India and Pakistan. Every time the two countries decide to talk and decide the future of millions of people of Kashmir, but nothing happens. So this particular deadlock has resulted into lots of frustration in the region, lots of frustration among the youngsters. That is why more and more youngsters are forced to take up arms. And many of those who we see these days on the streets just protesting the deaths of fellow friends and others, the other day we hear that they have joined the militant outfit. So the whole situation is to be blamed on the governments of India and Pakistan and the failure of the international pressure. So at this particular moment, what is required is that at least the international pressure must be built to a level that the two countries will be able to decide the future of Kashmir, which is suffering. And this simmering and low-intensity conflict has resulted into mental frustrations, illnesses, sicknesses, and now more and more youth joining violent struggle against Indian rule again. So people want that the core issue must be resolved as soon as possible, so that at least they see a dawn of development, a better economy, rather than unemployment and more deaths and killings of the civilians. So India and Pakistan has a very strong role to play, rather than blaming each other for attacks, on terrorist attacks or whatever is happening in the two countries. People of Kashmir need to be spared, and people of Kashmir need a resolution, which is important.
Very well, thank you for that. Shana Butt there talking to us from Kashmir.